Welcome to the 6th episode of the Post Up Podcast. I'm back again with my co-host Owen, and today we're talking about the Southeast Division. We'll start with the Atlanta Hawks, and I'm a big fan of this team.
Yeah, well, they showed a lot of promise last season. I feel like after they drafted Trae Young, it was very mixed reviews that people thought, oh, what are you doing? But I was a big fan from day one. And I think they proved last year that they got a good foundation to build upon. And this off-season, they improved even more. So they might be in a prime spot to take the next step.
Yeah, obviously they didn't do amazingly last season, but it's a young team. It's still a young team now, but they've added so many more players, so many more rookies, so many more good players with Parker, Crabbe, Evan Turner coming in as well. The team's just improved a lot, and it's just exciting to see how these young players will do as well.
Yeah, like you said last season, they didn't win many games, but every now and again you saw flashes of what they could be in a couple of years' time, and most notably against the Sixers, where I couldn't believe it. They were just dominating us in every single aspect of the game. And Kevin Huerter, he was a later on pick, and he tore us to shreds. And he did it to a couple of teams towards the end of the season. So you might be a Klay Thompson 2.0.
Yeah, he's a great catch and shoot guy, and it's perfect to partner up with Trae Young, who likes to shoot himself, but then with the defense being on him the most, it's easy just to dish out to Kevin Huerter.
And he's one of the best playmakers in the league.
Yeah,
he can make literally any pass. So it definitely helps. By surrounding him with good shooters, I mean, that's the key to success right there. But it's like with the Warriors with Curry, he's one of the best shooters of all time, but he's also one of the best playmakers of all time. And you can see how that impacts the rest of the team. I'm not saying Trae's going to be the next Curry, but
splash by the three.
But he's going to be the closest thing to Curry that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So this team has to be successful at some point in the future.
They also got the 4th overall pick in the draft, and with DeAndre Hunter. How well do you see him doing this season?
Well, he was one of my safest picks in the draft. People are comparing him to Kawhi Leonard, but I wouldn't expect him to get anywhere near that. But he's not going to be a bust. He's going to be a good player for the next 15 years. You know what he's going to do. He's going to defend at the quality level. He's going to shoot. And it's nothing special. He's not going to be a superstar, but you could argue he was probably the perfect player for this team, because they needed defense because of Trae Young and how horrific he is defensively. So I think that was the no-brainer pick at number 4, and I'm glad they did it.
Would you say he's got a Jimmy Butler ceiling?
No.
You say he wouldn't be as good as Kawhi. Do you think he could be Butler level, higher, maybe lower?
Well, Jimmy Butler's a perennial all-star. Do I think Hunter could get to that level? I mean, there's a slim chance, but I wouldn't put money on him being a multiple-time all-star.
I was just saying the fact that Kawhi, there's a step up from Jimmy Butler to Kawhi, so.
You never know, he could be. He's talented enough.
I'm a big fan of John Collins, power forward. I don't want to keep going back to 2K, but I trade for him a lot of the time. I'm a big fan of him. He did alright last season, and I'm interested to see how he can progress and what his ceiling could be this season.
When Collins first came into the league, he was very much just an athlete. He couldn't do much. He could score down low, but last season he took his game to the next level by adding the 3-point shot and being able to score off the dribble. And going back to the Sixers, he hit the game winner against us. And he was very good. And he's still very young, so there's no reason why he can't continue that development and become a Blake Griffin type player.
If he bulks up as well, could be a real force in the paint as well, more than he is already.
Yeah.
We're talking about some of the players that they brought in, and just looking at who they'll have on their bench this season is, well, a lot of them are rookies, but it could be great. They've brought in some good players that know the league, could help the young players improve. Looking at Jabari Parker could help Collins a bunch and help Fernando.
I wasn't a big fan of that signing at all.
No?
Oh no, I was shaking my head when I saw the notification. Why would you do that? Because I remember in this press conference with Chicago, where someone asked him about why you were a bad defender or something, and he said, "I'm paid to score and not paid to defend, and this team needs defense more than anything." So I think this is his last chance in the NBA. If he messes this up, he won't get another chance, I don't think. So hopefully he'll be on his best behaviour. Hopefully he will defend.
Or maybe you can teach John Collins a few post moves.
Maybe. Maybe.
Talking about players with high ceilings, the 10th pick, Cam Reddish.
I think he's both of our favourite players going into the draft.
Yep.
He's my number one player, and that was like a very unpopular opinion, because I don't know why, but most people think he's going to be a bust, like Ben McLemore. But I think his situation in college, where he went to Duke with Zion and RJ Barrett, that was possibly the worst choice he could have made. Because if he went to a school where he was a number one option, he'd have easily averaged 20 points a game. But because he was with two players who were scoring all the time, very rarely would he get his chance. And when he did eventually get his chance, he wasn't in rhythm. It's a bit like the Celtics last year, where they had too many good players, and it just didn't work out. But now he's in the team with he's in the perfect situation really with Trae Young. And I said to you before the draft, I was praying he'd go to the Hawks, because if he went to any other team like Cleveland or Minnesota, I probably would have said he might have been a bust, but because he's landed in the perfect situation, he's going to be a good player.
Yeah, really, going to Duke really helped him, because if he did go to a team where he was the star man, he probably would have been drafted earlier than 10th. So he would have been a awful team, which he would have had to, he'd be playing loads of minutes, he'd have to try and carry a team. But at the Hawks now, with all these young players, it's a good place for him. So he probably did it probably looked like a bad move, but in the end it was the right move.
It worked out, thankfully.
And I'm already looking for a Cam Reddish jersey.
In the second round, they chose one of my favourite players in the whole draft, Bruno Fernando. Now, the Sixers originally selected him, and it was in our time, it was about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I was running around my bedroom, jumping for joy, because I said, we drafted Bruno Fernando, he's a perfect back for Joel Embiid. And I was messaging Halen, I was saying how delighted I was, and then...
I was asleep by this point, I won't answer it.
And then, as I sent the messages to him, I went on Twitter to see the reaction, only to find out we traded him for some cash, I think, maybe a future second round pick, and I was devastated. I was devastated. I just slumped back into my chair and just sulked for a good 10 minutes. I was so gutted.
You got to pay more attention to the draft.
Yeah, they didn't mention anything about the trade until a couple of minutes after. But oh my god, it's like, if we didn't get Matisse in the first round, I'd have been happy with him in the first round, with our first round pick. I'm glad he's with the Hawks now though, because it's a situation where he's going to get game time. Because Alex Len isn't a great player. And look at their other options. Damian Jones from the Warriors.
Yeah, they don't have any other options.
It's not amazing, so it wouldn't shock me if he gets a starting spot by the end of the season.
What is he good at? What would he bring to this Atlanta team?
Everything. He's a great defender. He's a big guy. He's stocky. Great shot blocker. He can shoot, but his coach in college never let him shoot. I don't know why, because he's got a good shooting form. But now with the Hawks, they love shooting threes, and I think that's perfect for Bruno. So, yeah, it should be the perfect spot for him.
Sky's the limit for Bruno Fernando.
Yeah.
So, last season, the Hawks finished 12th with a record of 29-53. How do you see them doing this season, Owen?
I think it's only right to expect a steady improvement. I think they might be able to sneak into the playoffs, but I think they should be able to win at least 35 games. If they can get to 40, there's no reason why they can't get into the 8th or 7th seed.
Obviously, their team has improved so much from last year, but because it's still a young team, I don't think they're just quite ready for the playoffs, but I've got them down for 38 wins, and maybe sneak in, depends how good Reddish and Hunter and Fernando come in, but I see him just missing out.
Do you think Trae Young will make the All-Star game?
Ooh, it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
You look at Kawhi going up west, that opens up a spot for him.
Yeah. I think he can.
I think he could. There's no reason why not.
Steph of the East. The Miami Heat. They've got one of your old boys.
Who? I don't know what you're talking about. I forgot about him now.
Jimmy the Bully Butler.
Oh yeah. How could I forget?
How do you think Butler's gonna fare in Miami?
Well, Jimmy, I don't know what to believe with him, because when we traded for him, he's always saying, "Oh, I don't care about the money. All I want to do is win. That's all I care about. All I want to do is win." then the Sixers offered him a big contract, and he chose to retire in Miami instead. Is he motivated to win anymore? Or did he just want the Miami lifestyle? I mean, it's tough to predict. If he's motivated, then yeah, sure, they can make the playoffs, but I don't think he's going to be very motivated.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's one of those ones, again, where a player, like, talks the talk in, like, the press conferences and then just comes out and just...
does the complete opposite.
Yeah. But Butler is one of my favourite players in the NBA. I love the way he plays. I like his style.
I used to like the way he plays.
No, but you've got more of a reason to hate him, as he left your team. I, looking from the outside, just admiring his work.
Before Jimmy played for us, I had a completely different perspective of him, because I thought he was a great defender and was a threat, like a scoring threat throughout the whole game. But it turns out he only defends in the fourth quarter, and he only starts scoring with 6 minutes left of the fourth quarter.
The most important time to do it.
But like, if he scored for the whole game and defended for the whole game, it'd be wins. I don't know if he actually tried for the first 3 quarters for us. We'd have been in the NBA Finals. But like, he only turned up with a couple of minutes left, and then when he'd hit the game winner, he'd be dubbed as a hero. Wait, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not fussed on him anymore. I don't know if I'm just salty, but...
We can put it down to salt.
No, we're a better team now. Goodbye, Jimmy.
Is he good enough to carry this Heat team into the playoffs?
God, no. To carry a team, you got to be like Kawhi Leonard. You got to be at that level, and Jimmy Butler's nowhere near that. Our situation was perfect for him, where he'd be like the third player on the team, like the third best player. But now he's gonna have to carry this poor team. I think their ceiling is a first round knockout, really.
Yeah.
I hope we play him in the playoffs, to be honest. That'd be one hell of a series. After what happened a couple of years ago, where where Dwayne Wade tried to break one of our players' arms in a playoff series. Now we get to play at Jimmy Butler. I'd love that playoff series.
Their team worries me, the fact that their point guard spot is so like weak. Unless you play Butler at point guard.
Well, he played point guard for us at times.
Yeah, you can do it. I could see that happening.
They do have Dragic and Winslow.
Yeah, Dragic, obviously,
and they try to trade him anyway.
Yeah,
it's part of the Jimmy deal.
As years work, Dragic is getting older, and obviously, the older you get, the worse you usually are, unless you're like
LeBron James.
Yeah. So, yeah, Butler's probably the best fit for point guard in this team, but obviously he's got a bit of a reputation as a bully. What's that going to mean for Hero and Okpala?
Just don't get in Jimmy's way. Just leave him alone. When he's annoyed, stay back. And when the game's on the line, make sure you give him the ball. Otherwise, he'll hit you for the rest of the time.
But as we've seen in the Summer League and in college, Hero's a bit of a shooter.
Yeah.
So, and obviously Butler likes to have the ball.
I think Jimmy's just going to say, hey Tyler, just stand in the corner, wait your turn. I don't know how that's going to favour his development.
Yeah, and it's probably not the best for the Heat, where Hero's probably, or if they keep Hero for a long time, he's going to be like the new D Wade, the face of the franchise, where Butler very unlikely to stay for them more than like 3 years.
We know with Jimmy, he always brings this sort of non-negative aura, but I don't know how to describe it, but in Chicago, everyone was uneasy with him. In Minnesota, it was the same. In Philadelphia, it was the same. Now, is he going to bring that to Miami? Probably, because he's not going to change his ways. So, is Hero going to feel comfortable, like, taking shots when Jimmy wants the ball? Is he even going to be allowed to do that? I hope he is. But, I don't know, Jimmy's a bit of a alpha. Too much of an alpha.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this story progresses with Butler.
Like, if we get to December, it wouldn't shock me if this team is completely self-combusted. But it could work out, because Jimmy is like a perfect Miami Heat player.
Yeah.
So their fans are going to love him. But Philly fans loved him, and that quickly changed. So I wonder if it'll ever change for them.
I'm also tempted to buy Jimmy Butler jersey.
Don't be a traitor.
But another reason to be happy for the Heat is one of the best shooters in the league, Dion Waiters.
No.
What's wrong with Dion Waiters?
I mean, he shoots like a good 32%.
I was going to say, it's not a good percentage. For every shooter, it's not a good percentage.
I wonder if he's still going to be on the team by at Christmas.
Yeah, it's weird with just the NBA is like when trades can happen again, like there's loads of trades and then it's just nothing until the start of the season. Everything goes quiet and it's like you understand you can still do things. You can still kind of work on deals now. Everything's gone really quiet. Last season the Heat finished 10th with a record of 39 of 43. How do you see them doing this year?
About the same, to be honest. They added a good player, but are they improved because they lost Josh Richardson? So I wouldn't say it's a big swing either way. They might finish with a very similar record. It might be good enough to get into the playoffs this time. Just have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, they're definitely improved. I mean, I know whatever you think about Jimmy Butler, he is better than Josh Richardson. He is a better player. Like, just looking at the player, he's a better player. Like, not thinking about what he brings and, like, his past. Just the player, he's better.
Well, Jimmy only averaged at 2 more points, and Josh is a much better defender.
But it's Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
It's this. Sure. It's the kind of, like, the fans don't. The Heat fans are not going to the Heat game thinking Josh Richardson's here. Yes, we've got Josh Richardson. They're going to be going to these games thinking, yes, we've got Jimmy Butler. Like, teams are not going to go to the Heat and think, ooh, we got to play against Josh Richardson tonight. They're more likely to be like, ooh, let's make sure Butler doesn't go off.
I mean, he's not going to go off anyway. He goes off like once every 7 games.
Yeah, saying that, I think he probably just sneak into the playoffs. 42 wins, probably. Or it could be awful.
Yeah, it could be.
We'll wait and see how the Butler story unfolds. The Hornets. Terry Rozier's Hornets. Go on, Owen. Talk about Terry Rozier. I know you can't wait for this.
Well, it's a big contract, obviously. 57 million for a player who he had a good playoff run 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That included coaching the Sixers. But since then, last season, he was never able to like relive those sort of heights, mainly because of Kyrie and his ways. But now, yeah, I mean, as weird as it sounds, he's the franchise player. Which, yeah, it's very weird, but he's going to get his chance. He's going to get his shots. So, yeah, it's a massive overpay, but honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if he averages like 18 points a game.
Yeah.
On bad efficiency, though.
Yeah. That playoff run he had 2 years ago made me like fall in love with Rozier. Watching him play, I was like, wow, this guy's amazing. Yeah. And I've been nothing but disappointed with him since. But yeah, he's got exactly what he wanted. When he was at the Celtics, he was like asking to be the starter. Obviously, wanting to get there over Kyrie. He wants to take all the shots. He wants to be the main man. He thinks he's good enough to be the main man, and he's got exactly what he wants now. He's the main man. This is your time to shine, Terry Rozier. He could show us the form that he did the whole of he could show us the form this season that he had in the playoffs, or because he's playing with a lot weaker team than he was with that Celtics team, he could do what you said. He'll average like 18 points, but he'll shoot 30%, which is very likely because there's not many other players in this team except like Monk that's gonna take shots.
But the part I found interesting was why the Hornets paid that much money. Because an article came out a couple of days ago where just before free agency started, Rozier was set to sign for the Knicks. Like, that was all done. He was phoning everyone saying, signing with the Knicks. And then the Suns came in, offered him a little bit more money. And then Charlotte came in and offered him that much money. So it doesn't seem like they were bidding against much, but they just threw everything at. But yeah, do you think Charlotte is the best spot for him, or would a New York or Phoenix would have been better?
I don't know. Looking at like the Knicks roster, if he went there, like would he start over Dennis Smith Jr. and then he's playing with other players who want to take so many shots?
Yeah. And if they had signed him, they wouldn't have brought in Randall or Portis or any of the good players.
So it's the best spot for him, but it doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that he's going to make this Hornets team good.
Yeah, it's like, look how bad their team is. They've got no good players. But they've got no money to spend either. Like, all their money's wrapped up in Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Cody Zeller, Batum, Biyombo, Marvin Williams. It's tragic. Like, they've got no money for the next couple of years, and they might have the worst roster in the league.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough.
I just feel sorry for their fans.
It's gonna be a very tough few years for.
There's nothing to look forward to.
No. Except watching
their draft.
Terry Rozier play, because he is an entertaining guy.
Yeah.
So they could you just gotta accept that you'll probably not win more than 20 games, and just be happy with Rozier. Well, it'll either go one way. Rozier will just clown his way through the season, or he'll take it really seriously, and halfway through the season when he's putting up 30 points and no one else is doing anything, he'll just get really annoyed and then get a massive ego, which he obviously already has.
Yeah.
And he'll turn really toxic and turn into Kyrie V2, baby.
For the Hornets fans, I think it's just important to just enjoy the process.
Yeah.
You're not going to win much. You have to accept it. Just enjoy watching the young players play. Like
Owen said a few weeks ago, just enjoy the fact that maybe one game Bacon might put up 20 points and you're like, wow, that was good.
If you eventually become a good team, you will miss these days. I miss them. Even though we never won.
I wouldn't say you'd miss these days, but you'd look back and enjoy the days more.
Yeah, because when we won 10 games, even though it was miserable at the time, I miss them because you never knew who was going to score. I mean, it's not a good thing to be like that, but it's quite exciting. But I think the Hornets, they have to rebuild. They're going to have the choice because they're not going to win anyway. But just stock up on draft picks.
Yeah, get draft picks, wait until the big contracts expire, and we'll see you in the 2030 playoffs.
That's a bit generous.
2035 playoffs. When you lose the first round. Terry Rozier has massive boots to fill in Charlotte. Obviously, Kemba going off to the Celtics. It's the beginning of the rebuild, really, isn't it? There's not much more than just the rebuild starts here. The franchise man's gone.
It's still baffling that they let him go, because a team like Charlotte, you're never going to sign good players in free agency. So once you draft a superstar, you've got to do everything to keep hold of him. Yeah. And after Kemba signed with Boston, there were reports saying Charlotte didn't offer anywhere near the max contract for him, which is just baffling.
Why wouldn't you give Kemba a max contract when he's the only player on that team that can literally do anything?
Exactly. It's baffling. And then you refuse to pay Kemba, then you paid Rozier.
Yeah. It wouldn't have looked as bad if they didn't want to give Kemba the money and then Rozier came in on a small contract or a small
and you
contract.
used the money to round out your roster.
Yeah. But no, they just didn't give Kemba money and then gave Rozier loads of money. And
yeah, it was confusing. Because I thought Kemba was a shoe-in to re-sign with Charlotte.
Yeah, I didn't think he'd leave.
Until 2 days before free agency, when all the reports came out of Boston. But yeah, when those reports came out, I was so baffled. Why would you not do everything in your power to keep hold of one of the best players in your franchise history?
So in the draft, they drafted PJ Washington, Jalen McDaniels, and Cody Martin. Are these boys going to do much for them?
Probably not. I was surprised when PJ went as high as he did. I think they drafted him 12th. I was expecting him to be more of a late first round, maybe to OKC or a team like that. So when they drafted him, I don't know. I was just, what are you doing? Just if you're going to draft him, trade back a little bit. The fact they passed up on someone like Matisse Thybulle or Tyler Hero is come on. Yeah, I don't get what they're doing. And you're going to be losing Kemba. Or at the time of the draft, they had a strong inkling that Kemba might be going. So why not trade up and be aggressive and try and get, Darius Garland or Ja Morant?
Yeah, it would have made sense to try and get a future star player to be their franchise face, but nope, they didn't. So have fun, Hornets fans. There won't be much fun in the next 10 years, but
just sim to the end of the season. Just skip the season.
Just sim a few years in the future.
Yeah.
So the record last season with Kemba was 39 wins, 43 defeats, and they finished 9th. How bad is it going to be this season?
They're going to plummet like a fast roller coaster. They're going to go down to sub 20 games.
Yeah, I can see them the highest 20 wins.
I think that's fair.
It's just Rosie is good in that. Don't see him carrying them to more than 20 wins. I don't think Monk's got the ability to carry teams to wins. And you're looking throughout the team is like
who's going to win games from?
Yeah,
no one.
Rosie is the only guy there that could win a game for you. But how many times is he going to win a game for you?
Monk might score 25 points once every 25 games. But
we're going to Disneyland. We're in Orlando. The Magic. Can't hate this team.
There's nothing to hate about this team.
Nothing to hate about this team.
No.
Just so nice, isn't it?
It's just a nice team. Just a good team. Not good enough to be a threat, but it's just a good team.
Good team, that's it really. That's all you need to say about them.
No, until the Wizards.
I watched every game in the playoffs just because I like their players. I've always liked Fournier. I've liked Gordon since the dunk contest. Vucevic is just good. I always liked Terrence Ross. They got Mo Bamba. I mean, the song's great. Now they got Fultz. So I'll watch even more just to if he's playing. I'll be watching just to see what he does.
To see what his jump shot is like.
Yeah, Carter Williams is always like a fun player. When he was playing in the playoffs, it was just.
Yeah.
I remember one of the games he was actually like playing pretty well, and the crowd was so hyped to see Carter Williams play quite nicely. It's just there's nothing about this team that I could just look. I'd look at it and think, I don't like that. Like, it's just good in there. It's just good.
They had a good draft as well. Picking mid-first round, they chose Chuma Okeke, where he was a late riser in the draft, but in his last college game he tore his ACL.
Ooh.
Yeah, so had he not done that, I had him in top 10. But he dropped a little bit, but once he gets back healthy, he fits perfectly into this team. I can't wait to see how they use him, really.
There isn't much to say about this team. They haven't changed their team a bunch. Obviously, they got the rookie in. I'm not going to try and say his name. And they brought in Alpha Aminu. And there's no more change. Oh, Fultz as well, but that was more last season, but obviously he didn't play. There's no other change to this team. It's literally the same team they had last season.
Well, I was shocked they brought back Vucevic though, because I thought they were going to let him walk.
Yeah, I thought he might have gone to Boston.
And then just put Mo Bamba into the start lineup to help him become a good player. So I'm a bit concerned for Bamba because he's not going to get the game time now. But apart from that, I mean, it's a good team. But they're not going to win anything. They're going to get in the playoffs.
No, yeah.
They'll never be
the same as last season.
Yeah.
First round knockout again. And I'll watch every game of the playoffs again, Magic. I like Augustine too much, I think.
But they have the players in the team which could cause an upset in a way. Because they're long. They're a long team, they're good defenders. And their GM was a GM who constructed the Bucks team with Giannis and all that. So he's proven he has a good eye for talent. And, well, look at the players he's drafted so far with Jonathan Isaac and Okeke and Mo Bamba. He's going for the similar sort of type of players.
Yeah, well, we saw in the game against Toronto where all the scores of those games were always close. The scores were a lot of them were in the 80s. They were fun games to watch.
Yeah, I think it was after the Christmas point of last season. They were a top 5 defensive team. So if they can sustain that throughout the whole season, there's no reason why they shouldn't improve on from last season.
So last season, obviously, we said it a bit, they had 42 wins, 40 defeats, finished 7th, and went out of the first round to Toronto. How do you think they'll do this season?
I think, well, they got a very similar team, so they should be in and around the same type of record. Maybe a little bit better, 43 or 44 wins.
Yeah, I went for
still out in the first round.
Yeah, I went for 45, just purely because their team's the exact same, so they know how each other play. So obviously their chemistry's going to be a little bit better, and other teams in the East haven't necessarily improved as much as they have.
And nobody has any idea what to expect from Fultz. No one has any clue. He might be the same as last season, play 14 games and sit the rest of the season.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Or he could come back a new man and average 20 points a game and be the best point guard in the franchise history.
It's not going to happen.
You never know. I mean, watching his workout videos from this summer, his shot still seems a bit dodgy, but just if you play to his strengths and just focus on his speed, athleticism and playmaking, he's going to be a good player. But how good? Probably not very good.
No, definitely not very good. I don't think he'll come back and be this great player. But a first round exit for the Magic again this season.
Yeah, probably.
And I'll be watching games. You've got me as a viewer. Moving on to Washington and the sad state of Washington. Wall's injured. Ish Smith's at point guard. Bonga's on the bench. Is there much to be excited for?
I mean, Bradley Beal, you might score.
And
Rui Hachimura.
He only one who will score.
But with John Wall, you couldn't get much any more unfortunate. Like, he was at home rehabbing, and he fell over and tore his Achilles. Like, that's so unlucky. I know they stuck with him for the next 5 years, I think, on an enormous contract.
I think it was intentional to keep getting paid while
and to just
do nothing. Yeah, I think it was a genius move from John Wall.
I respect the hustle.
He was looking at the Wizards team thinking, I don't want to play him like 5 more years with this. I'm not going to get a trade because I'm on a big contract. So he was like, I'll just fall over. He's actually fine. There's nothing wrong with him. He's just sat at home watching basketball, having a good time. I respect him.
Decent.
They drafted Hachimura.
I like him.
Yeah?
Call me crazy, but I had him ranked higher than Zion.
Wow. You're crazy because Zion was first.
I know.
There isn't much more higher than Zion.
He was one of my favourite players in all of college basketball. He can't defend much, but I can't explain it. Like, he just knows how to play basketball.
I mean, you would hope so.
Yeah, he has such a high IQ. Watching him for Japan in the qualifiers, in the warm-ups for the World Cup, he just dropped 35 points, and in the game before he dropped 31, so he can score.
On our little spreadsheet here, you've got him playing power forward.
Yeah.
This season. I don't. He's only 6'8".
Yeah, we can't shoot. I mean, at college he played power forward most of the time. He's too slow, too flat-footed to play small forward. Like, if you're asking to guard LeBron, yikes. So
you've bigged him up, and then you've just said he can't run and he can't shoot.
He's not a great athlete, though.
But athleticism is a big thing in the NBA. I don't know what to think about Hachimura. Obviously, we'll see when the season starts. I'm not necessarily thinking he'll be this great big player. I don't think Wizards will be any good this season. But, yeah, Hachimura.
I mean, when your point guard battle is between Ish Smith and Isaiah Thomas, you know you're going to be in store for a bad season.
Yeah, that's not good at all. It's not good at all. Like, what an awful team.
It's similar to Charlotte. Like, isn't just nothing to look forward to.
Yeah, it's like
you got no money because it's all locked up.
It's probably best to like trade. How many years has Bradley Beal got left on his contract?
2 years, I think.
Nah, you probably may as well let that expire.
Nah, you want to cash in on him, get all the draft picks.
Oh yeah, trading for loads of draft picks. But yeah, it's very similar to Hornets' situation, but Hornets' like squad is better. Awful team. Just rebuild, get rid of Beal, just count the days down that John Wall's leaving.
How many days would that be? 5 years. That's over 1,000 days.
There's too many days. Poor Wizard fans. I'd maybe pick a different team for the next 5 years.
Here's a good shout.
Or follow a different sport, just so you're not entirely depressed.
Just trust the process. That's all you can do in this situation.
Yeah, but if you want if you want to have some enjoyment, go and find a good NFL team.
I mean, the NFL team in Washington is not very good right now.
No, just don't support the one in your own state. Yeah. Just find another. Just pick the best team, and just enjoy a few years of a different sport. It helps. I'll tell you from experience, it helps. Record?
They'd be lucky if they get 20. I don't know. Bradley Beal will win some games, but the rest of the team is so horrifically bad. Apart from Hachimura. But I can't see him winning any more than 20.
I've got 18 wins. I mean, I'm really just putting them up against like the Hornets, and I was thinking the Hornets will get more wins simply because they've got a better squad. And yeah, Beal is better than Rozier, but what has Beal got to work with? Nothing.
Because when teams play the Wizards now, just put all 5 players on Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
And that's it. You won the game, pretty much.
Easy. Basketball's easy.
Exactly. Put me as a coach.
Defense wins games. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Post Up Podcast. We'll have a bonus episode, a previewing the World Cup. It starts at the beginning of next month. And then in 2 weeks we'll be back to talk about the Northwest. And my boys, the Thunder. Thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter. We've made a Twitter now. Follow us on Soundcloud. And yeah, catch you sometime in the future.